DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Well, welcome to the DSPN. We're on a summer break, and so what we've done is recorded a few interviews to tide you over before we start back again live January the 13th. We've got a podcast out Monday to Friday every single afternoon. Normally lands about 4 or 5 across Rover, Spotify, Google, Apple Play, wherever you find your favourite podcast. Or if you are watching now on the DSPN channel, click that subscribe button. That really helps us. It keeps this thing alive. We're trying to build a community here. Like, share, follow. Tell all your friends about it. Leave us a comment, all of that. And much looking forward to a bumpy year of sport in 2025, including, of course, tennis. And tennis is all about the Grand Slams. I mean, for all of us who love our tennis, I mean, the rest of it kind of washes over, doesn't it? But the Grand Slams, including Aussie Open, which starts the year off always as one of the highlights. And with us is our man, Dave Worsley, who you'll be in Australia at Rod Laver Arena, Melbourne Park, Margaret Court Arena and so forth. Do the US Open for us every year and so forth. And what is going to stand out to you first and foremost in the Australian Open? Then we'll look at the year, because we've had a changing of the guard this year. We've had Sinner obviously coming through, making a name for himself, and the drug thing aside, but I mean, he's obviously going to be pushing for that number one spot. No Rafa Nadal anymore, no Roger, of course. Is Novak going to front, and what kind of a state is he going to be in? So let's look at that men's side to start with at the Aussie Open. What are you expecting?
Well, what I'm expecting, Marty, is that you've got Sinner as defending champion and winner of US Open as well. Great on the hard courts. Had a little bit of a glitch during the middle of the year. Didn't quite come through. Alcaraz did. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at. Sinner at one end, Alcaraz at the other, and the rest to maybe make the semi-finals, or if there's a massive upset or an injury, perhaps other players like Taylor Fritz, Medvedev, because we just like him because he's funny, and he made the final last year, or earlier this year, 2024, he made the final.
That's right, yeah, we get confused.
Yeah, exactly, this time of the year. Made the final. That's his 5th Grand Slam final. Lost in 5 to Sinner. Should have won, but then just flaked in the end. We've got Djokovic. Now, is he going to make it past the quarterfinals? It's going to have to come down.
Dave, winning 7 matches in a row to win a Grand Slam. And look, we saw him tail out at the US Open, didn't we? Just ran out. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, at his age, with all the injuries and everything else, I still wonder whether he's got one tournament. But when I say one, I mean one, where he puts 7 in a row together.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I mean, Aussie Open is his tournament as such. Yes, he's done very well.
What's he won it 10 times or something ridiculous?
That's right. Yeah, so it's his tournament. He knows what to do. He knows how to play it. He knows how to set himself up for the year, for that particular tournament. Then usually fades a little bit and comes back a little bit stronger near the end of the year. Didn't happen last year. A little bit older. Those 7 matches, as you said though, Marty, that's just vital. And when you've got guys like Fritz, Alcaraz to a certain extent, and when you've got Sinner playing well, and their level and their power is just huge.
How much is it in the legs? How much is it the fact that these guys can just run and run and run? And by the time you get to a quarter or a semi-final level, they know that it's obviously taking its toll on him now.
Yeah, they know it now. They know, like it was in the past with Federer. People doubted whether they could beat him. People doubted whether they could beat Nadal on clay, let alone anywhere else.
Could you?
No, exactly. And then they doubted, could they beat Djokovic on any surface, because he was just going to grind you down and annoy you and just counterpunch. And it must have been so frustrating. I've won the point. Oh, no, I haven't.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
I've won the point. And it just was. And now, to me, to a certain extent, Sinner's got a little bit around about that as well. Not so much the grinding, but he'll just outpower you. This is what we saw with Taylor Fritz at the US Open. I mean, Fritz was just smacking it. I mean, it was unbelievable, the power, and it would come back harder. It was sort of like it was a great machoism of you hit the ball hard,
I'll hit it hard.
I'm going to hit it harder.
That's right, yeah.
And the pace that they were hitting, it was a little one-dimensional at times. We don't want to see that every single Grand Slam final. We want to see a little bit of variety, and that's where Medvedev gives a bit of that, Alcaraz to a certain extent, and a couple of other players. But just the power, I think they'll overpower Djokovic, because those legs will start to fold. So if he makes the quarters, great. But I cannot see him, even without the draw at the moment, I cannot see him actually making it past the quarters.
As far as the women go, it just seems to be, I mean...
You're not enjoying it as much, are you, at the moment?
Well, look, I think that what they're lacking in tennis as far as the women's side of the draw goes is they are lacking those Sharapovas, Serena Williams. They're lacking those superstars. They're lacking the big 3 that men's tennis had for a long time, because it's not just about being a great player. You need that personality as well. And for a lot of us, the names all blend into, I mean, look, there's a lot of Eastern European players. They're not as familiar as we need them to be.
No, not right at the moment. And
part
of that comes to the WTA not promoting the players as well as they could or should. Sabalenka is Belarusian. She's very good. Reminds me of many ways of the way she hits like Serena Williams. Powerful and very powerful. There's not much in between. There's not much subtlety.
No.
So
it served her well.
Yeah, I mean, her opponents have got to learn what to do. And it's like when people play Serena Williams, don't hit it back powerful and try and beat her down the middle. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
Use a bit of variety, change it up, change this, change that. That's how you'll beat her. Then you've got Iga Svantec, who has a few little issues, and in the sense that she's very particular. I don't know if she has a couple of little issues, but she's very, very particular about the way. Like, she couldn't walk into here and feel comfortable walking into a lot of people, around a lot of people. She struggles with that.
Right.
I mean, people do well in their sports because they're so focused on,
especially in this sport. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. And and then the issues with the alleged doping, which was just silly. So she's struggling a little bit at the moment. Let's see if she can come back. She's never done that well at the Australian Open, whereas Sabalenka has. There's also a couple of other players, Krejcikova, Mukova, as you said, a couple of Eastern Europeans.
Well, what about Coco as well? I mean, what about the United States?
She was my next one to say. And the problem with Coco, she hasn't learned how to actually hit a forehand. Now, I mean, won a Grand Slam.
Yeah, won a Grand Slam.
Yeah, but her backhand is a better shot. It seems silly. Usually it's the other way around. So she had a raft of coaches. How many people can you have giving you advice? About 6 different coaches. No, just have a coach. Yeah, you can have a fitness coach and a something else coach, but don't have one for your forehand, one for your backhand, one for your...
Right,
so there was too many people advising her, and she's still really young. That's the other thing.
Well, Raducanu, let's look at... I mean, okay, you raise your eyebrows again.
I'm sorry.
But this is what happens in tennis. We get a lot of players who, for 18 or 19 or 20, do something extraordinary. Then where have they gone?
Yeah. I mean, Raducanu has the ability, unfortunately, being the woman from the UK, the first UK woman, the first English woman to win since, was it Margaret Court at Wimbledon in 1977? That puts a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, with the Andy Murray thing.
Yeah. It gives you everything. Here you are, you're a star. Don't have to hit another ball in your life and you'll be well enough off if you want. But then she had injuries, then a few little niggles, then changed coaches every week, basically. I don't even know who her coach is now because it's changed so often. It's just too hard to keep up. The guys from the BBC are like, we're not actually too sure half the time who her coach is each week. So that's the sort of thing. Lots of potential there. Hopefully coming to Auckland where it's quieter for her as such, rather than going to Sydney or Brisbane or straight to Melbourne.
Helped.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll help. Then you've got also, here's another Grand Slam winner, 2-time Grand Slam winner, Simona Halep's coming to Auckland as well.
She's coming to Auckland.
Yeah, she's played here before. It's actually quite a good draw considering, those sort of things. But I mean, you've got Raducanu has a lot of ability. There's a few former Grand Slam winners as well. So,
all right, pick it then. Who wins men's and women's Aussie Open?
I've got to say Sinner. I know that's very obvious, and I've got to say Sabalenka because at the moment they are the outright favourites. That's just it. There's no one particularly close except for Alcaraz, maybe. Taylor Fritz, he can put together 6. Can he do a 7th? Mm-hmm. You look at the women's. Look at Svantec, Coco Gauff. We just don't know. That first slam of the year, it's the lead-in. How well have they done in the lead-in, Martin? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But at the moment, it's 2 very much outright favourites.
DSPN.